makes us believe in the miracles that Jesus made and tells us that Virgin Mary was his virgin mother and describes Mary verbatim from the Quran. Mary, daughter of Imran, was told by the angels, God has chosen you and purified you and chosen you over the women of all the universe. And this is Jesus and Mary to us. One big difference, we believe God created Jesus. You believe God fathered Jesus. This difference is being expounded, but whatever it goes, you in particularly are the people that have on their tongues very, very frequently the phrase, God is love. And yet I can quote over history, and in this very day, Christian voices speaking about Muslims with hatred. And go and read and listen. Moreover, even if you assume that Muslims are the most evil people and they are your enemies, what does Jesus say on that? You have been told that people of old were told you love your relative and hate your enemy, but I tell you, love your enemies and bless those who curse you and pray for those who trespass against you. This is not literary emotional expression. Jesus meant it, and meant it to be practical. And I wish that all the members of the three religions would obey Jesus on that point. Now we go to the embryo, our starting point. Islam gives its views on the embryo because Islam believes and orders the sanctity of human life. And is the embryo a human life? It took some time for people to realize it. As a matter of fact, it wasn't until recently and after the discovery of the microscope that people began to be aware of the solid basis of biology. My PhD was titled Studies in Normal and Abnormal Human Embryogenesis. That was after the thalidomide tragedy, and it was funded by the company that produced thalidomide. Before that, and when the microscope was made, people looked at the seminal fluid and saw the spermatozoa swimming in it. So they thought that the sperm was the miniature human being. Until later on, Graft discovered the Graafian follicle and ovulation and the ovum, and we realized that the beginning of the human being belongs to a 50-50 composition between male and female. This method is not the only way of reproduction in nature. We know that in nature there is what we call reproduction asexually, just cell division. An amoeba divides into two, and that's that. And then came the stage of discovering male and the female elements, but uniting together inside the body of the host. Like some worms, for example. And then came a stage when sperms and ova were laid in water where they met and united. And then it became more complex, and there was the cloaca to cloaca opposition, so that sperm would go, fertilize the ovum, and then the bird would lay its ovum and lie on it. And then, at long last, came the sperm traveling higher up, meeting the ovum, remaining inside for a long period, 9 months in the human being. And even then, when born, whereas an animal being would be ready to run and move, a human being remains dependent, maybe for several years after that. So there is a very wide variety in nature for reproduction. And when I hear about cloning, for example, to us it seems news, something, invention. No. Asexual reproduction has always been there. But then comes the role of God. It is for a purpose that all those stages of reproduction and their complexity evolved, and it must have been to serve a purpose.